reached out and asked if you had read the indictment. You said you read it word for word, page for page, right?
I did. I keep up. I love Jackson.
Even though they've not been in court and they've not been found guilty, it's just an indictment.
They don't see it. My first statement was, think of your family. Think about your family. Put your family first.
I never thought in a million years we would have been put in the situation that we were in. Never. Because we went through our whole career doing the right thing.
It's utterly ridiculous to me. Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Othor Cain Show. I'm Othor Cain. Glad to have you aboard on our Tuesday evening. We're excited about the show tonight. Coming up in just a few moments, we'll talk about the presidential search that's happening on the campus of Jackson State University. There's a relatively new organization that is formed. I'm going to give you complete details on that. I've got some great guests here to talk about their vision for the next president of the I Love Jackson State University. First, though, want to remind you that we are extremely excited to have you with us on the live stream tonight. We certainly do appreciate your support. Your support helps us control the narrative. It helps us go beyond the headlines and tell real significant stories the way that only we can. But we cannot do that without your support and without your generosity. So I just want to simply say thank you, thank you, thank you. Next week, we're going to start doing some banners with names and shouting out folk that are supporting us and sponsoring us. And we are absolutely excited about it. We could not do this work without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Want to jump in. Apologize for coming on just a little bit late tonight. We were tied up in meetings and then got stuck in traffic. Who knew Jackson, Mississippi had traffic after 5 o'clock? Who knew that, right? But let's jump in. I'm excited to have this conversation tonight. As most of you are keenly aware, Jackson University has gone through its fair share leadership changes. I can't even count the number of presidents Jackson State University has had within the last few years. I can say this, though, far too many, right? And this group has assembled because they want to not only have a seat at the table, but they want their voices to be heard. And they've laid some things out, and I've been very impressed with the work that the group called Project 1877 that they have done in terms of really rallying support and really pulling together a very strong coalition of alumni, community supporters, and other stakeholders in the Jackson State community. So we are excited tonight to have Brother Mark Dawson with us, and we're also excited to have Francis Leeson with us as well. So I want to say good evening to the both of you, and welcome to the Othor Cain Show. Glad to have you here.
Hey, thank you for having us. How are you?
Man, I'm good running, but I'm good, and I am just absolutely excited to have this conversation. I think that we'll start with you two giving us some of your background. Just tell us who you are, your connection to Jackson State, and then we'll get into the pros and cons of this presidential search. So, Francis, we'll start with you. Let's start with you.
Good evening, Othor. I'm Francis Leeson. I am a 86 graduate of Jackson State University, second generation, and actually have children that have attended. So really, my family is a 3-generation Jacksonians. I'm also a proud member of a lifetime member of the Alumni Association. I live here in Atlanta, and I work in as an industry technologist here.
Very good, very good. And Brother Mark, man, I started following your writings. I used to be the managing editor at the Mississippi Link. And this last month, I think I've gone back to help them out because their editor has been hospitalized, and so I've gone back to help them out with some copy editing. And when I started seeing this stuff come across the desk, I was like, "Whoa, this is good stuff." So, Brother Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a 1989 graduate of Jackson State in computer science, actually. So any writing that you have seen of mine is by God's good grace. My training is actually in computer science. I'm also a Jackson State parent as well. So those are my two connections. And originally from Chicago, and like Fran, I live in Atlanta now.
Very good. Very, very good. So thank you both for being with us tonight. And I want to start here. I just really want to start just as well. Let me start here. Let me say this first. So I did reach out to IHL for an appearance on the show tonight. I asked specifically for Dr. Cunningham to be a guest. I was do the show in segments. So I asked for Dr. Cunningham to be a guest, but he declined and said he was not available through the spokesperson at IHL. And after he declined, and I then asked for, and I just went blank. Who did I ask for after that? He was interim president at Alcorn at one point, and he kind of leads the space at IHL. I just
Rankins, Commissioner
Rankins. Gosh, Al Rankins. And so I asked for Dr. Rankins after that, and he too declined. And so I did have an opportunity, in full transparency, I did have an opportunity to speak with the communications director at IHL, John Sewell. And John and I had a conversation because I was emailing him privately. And so so we had a phone conversation after both declined. He asked that I call him and said that he didn't want to go back and forth with email. And so he said, there's just really nothing to talk about at this point. The RFP is posted. There's just not a whole lot to talk about at this point or at this juncture in the search process. But there's a page, on the website where Jacksonians can go and fill out this and fill out that. And while I understood that, I was kind of disappointed that we could not have a conversation. But he did say to me that as they moved through the process, then we can, kind of circle back and figure out how to have a conversation with them. So that's my transparency there. But I think that my first question for you guys would be to just kind of talk about why we are here. There's Vanessa. How are you, ma'am? Good to see you. Long time. So let's just talk about in your minds, why are we here again? And either one of you could take a stab first.
Well, we're here again because Jackson State has had several presidents in a very limited amount of time. I think with my youngest son, he did not see, he went through at least two presidents. The one before him went through probably one or two. It's just been a lot of change compared to perhaps the times that we were going through the university. And I'm not going back to old times. I just think that there needs to be some consistency in terms of leadership, and there needs to be transparency in terms of the search as we go about picking the next president. We have not seen that even.
Gotcha. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Well, so let me say that the reason that we are here, we are being destabilized because we haven't had high caliber, consistent leadership. And it doesn't matter to me when I say destabilized. I'm not saying it's intentional, unintentional, wittingly, unwittingly. The way I see it, if I were on the corner, on the sidewalk with my family, and the car was headed my way, I wouldn't look to see if the driver was experienced or not experienced, if they were doing it intentionally or unintentionally. I'm just trying to get them out of the way. And so what we are doing as the 1877 project, is picking up on what Fran said, is that we have not, for our students, had a class to enter and to have whoever signed that student's, sort of welcome to Jackson State letter, and then hand them their diploma since 2012 to 2016, and that was with Carolyn Myers. Since then, every time there hasn't been a single class to enter and then have that same president be the person handing them their certificate. So that's number one. We're underserving our students. The other thing is that we've seen, if you compare Jackson State to like HBCUs, we use as a chart comparison Morgan State, which is in Baltimore, which, like Jackson, it's a majority Black city that sometimes receives national headlines for poverty, crime, blight, and those kinds of things. So when people say, well, the problem is Jackson, so we want to just put a pin in that. Prairie View, which has similar programs, and then North Carolina A&T, which is a national HBCU. As you know, we have students from all over the country. If you go back 10 or 15 years, you will see that our enrollment was tracking with each of those universities. We were all between sort of 8,000 and 10,000 students. Since that time, now Morgan State is over 10,000. North Carolina A&T is over 14,000. And then Prairie View is just under 10,000, and Jackson State has come down at this point to about 6,000. So we're underserving our students. We're not recruiting or being able to attract the students that we need to attract. We also have housing challenges, which have been documented in the press, and students have filled out protests on that in terms of, I thought I had housing, then you get a letter and saying, no, you don't have housing, which is, one thing in and of itself. You think you're going to be staying someplace, and now you're going another place, but they're also getting these housing changes with big changes in their bill, as much as $3,000. So we have those things. And then we also know anecdotally that institutional giving, when you look at the money that Mackenzie Scott has given out since 2020, she's given over $500 million to 23 HBCUs.
Was Jackson State one of them? Although we're getting ahead of the conversation.
No, but this is kind of why we got here, is right. So in Jackson State has not been one of those 23 schools. Morgan State has been one. North Carolina A&T has been one. Prairie View has been one. Alcorn in the state has been one. So when I say we're being destabilized by not having a proper president, those are some of the rotten fruits of not having good leadership. And so what we are here to do is to advocate for a process that starts with accountability. We want IHL to say, hey, we've gotten it wrong. And this isn't about punishment or saying, look at you, you can't do it right. This is as much about as acknowledging there's been a wrong. Talk about where the process is.
Let me get you to put a paper clip there, because we're going to jump into those specifics in just a little bit. Okay. I don't want to get too far ahead. I do want to pull Vanessa in. Vanessa, good to see you, ma'am. I would like to know, why do you think we're back in this spot again? But before you answer that, Mark, you made a really good point, because I never really looked at it as all these presidents start, but they don't finish a class, right, to actually hand them their degrees. That's an amazing point there. And when you think about that, it's alarming, right? It's very, very, very alarming. So thank you for lifting that. That reshapes a lot of my thought processes. But it's good to see you, ma'am. Talk to us about why you think we're here again. I think you're on mute.
She's on mute.
All right. As we try to get her sound right, let's go to, is it Vanessa Quinn?
That's the way most people pronounce it, but it's actually Venetia. Yes,
Benicia,
good evening,
I
everyone.
looked at it again. I was like, nope, that's not Vanessa. Benicia, good evening to you. Tell us a little bit about your background and tell us why do you think we're here again. And then we're going to jump into some specifics of what we're looking for.
Okay. My name is Venicia Quinn, known as Vanessa Quinn. I'm a 1986 graduate of Jackson State University with a BS in finance. Lived in Atlanta for 35 years, just relocated back less than a year ago to Mississippi. I'm a true advocate for the students and for our old college home, Jackson State University. Shortly put, I think we're here again because we have way too many people who are not held accountable. Period. It's really just that simple. They got to be held accountable.
I think you're absolutely right. I think IHL, if we're honest, I think IHL has done a very poor job with its selection of presidents at Jackson State. We're going to delve more to that. Vanessa, did we get your sound up?
Let's try again.
Yes.
If at first we don't succeed, and I think that's exactly what has happened here, Othor, is we've failed to do just a couple of very simple things that my colleagues have already alluded to. We have failed to acknowledge that we failed, that the past presidential searches were inappropriately conducted and or not conducted at all. And number two, we failed to stop and look back. We can't expect a better future until we are willing to square up with exactly what brought us here. And we know we can look back and we can see in comparison to other universities how we have been treated, and B, how what we've allowed to happen. And so we're here, we the collective are here at a very different juncture in a different day with very different expectations, but it's pretty simple how we got here.
Very good, very good. So now, so Mark, I want to go back to you because you lifted some really good points. So tell me the outreach that 1877 has done to IHL, not your other constituents yet, but to IHL, to really position yourselves to be a part of this process. I know you guys showed up at the last board meeting, and I know that you presented a letter, but outside of those two mediums, what have you really done to immerse yourselves inside of IHL and this process?
So I'm not quite sure what you mean by immersing ourselves into IHL. I do think it's important to back up to say that at our formation, we've been at this 18 months at this point, and we started actually in working with Dr. Thompson's administration and looking at and tackling tough issues. Our first watchword is around partnership. And so we were meeting regularly with members of his team, looking at tough issues around housing. We were going to begin to tackle enrollment and institutional giving and those things. And so when he resigned unexpectedly and abruptly, we then began to look at, okay, this is a pattern and it has to stop. And so our engagement and really reaching out to IHL began with that point of saying, hey, we've had this three consecutive presidents who have come and gone, leaving under murky circumstances or without any reason, in very short tenure, and not really being able to even accomplish anything. And we want some change. So our primary reach out has been through our petitioning or email campaigns to say that we want accountability, we want transparency in the search, and we want to be included. We've also done a survey of alumni around what are the traits that we would like to see in our next president. We also went to the IHL meeting back in August, and we wanted to give a public comment about, what we're seeing and what we're hoping to get out of this search process, but we were denied at this point. So those are the things that we have been doing. But to the point about having a sit-down meeting or anything like that, we haven't had that with IHL. It'd be great to have that, but we haven't had that.
Yeah, and you answered the question beautifully. That's what I really wanted you to articulate, the steps that you've taken to help IHL understand that you're serious about this work, you're serious about the next president of Jackson State University, and honestly, you want to what Vanessa alluded to, a real search process to happen and not a make-believe, because I think a lot of people think that, and even now, a lot of people think that they're just going through the motions, and maybe they've already, made their selection. They're just going through the motion, but you want something real. So let's talk about this. So we've had all of these presidents at Jackson State, each of them with their own set of visions and whatever for the school. But at the end of the day, it has not necessarily worked to the benefit of the students on campus, to the constituency that they serve. Can you talk about what you want in Jackson State's next leader? Anybody can take a stab at that.
We're looking for someone with a vision that can execute. So strategy and tactical. Right now, there are a lot of work to be done on the university in terms of housing for the students, not just the short-term solutions that we're seeing in terms of leasing hotels. There are buildings on campus that are in need of repair. There is planning to be done regarding curriculum. We get excited about football season and sports, but let's face it, the heart of the university are the students that we serve. And if we're not providing them with the skills to move forward, our legacy is going to be short when it comes to Jackson State. So we're looking for someone with vision.
Got it. Vanessa, what about you?
Yeah, along those same lines. And when we surveyed our constituents, it's the same thing. We want the vision. As Fran said, we want someone with the strategy in mind, not just looking at where we are and from where we now have to rebuild, but also looking longer term. And if I do nothing else tonight, I really do want to impart the fact that we deserve the best. We deserve the absolute best candidates out there. That is why we're calling for the fair and transparent process in a national search. And that is not for or against anyone who might be going for the job. May the best candidate win. But we need someone to come in now, understand our very unique challenges, and lead us forward with a heart for, just as Fran said, the heart for the students. That's what matters most. Faculty and staff matter. All of us, alumni matter. And we want someone with that heart. We want someone with that passion. We want someone with the skill set to position us now and for the future.
Got it. That's very good. So I think Linda Rush is on, but she'll need to turn on her camera to be added to the live stream. So if y'all can reach her and tell her that. Vanessa, what about you? Anything different than what was already said in terms of what you're looking for in a president?
I wish I could say it was different. Maybe. When you ask that question, the first thing comes to mind is someone who's honest, someone who's qualified, and basically someone who gives a damn. I think that's very, very important that qualifications is at the forefront. And I would love to see just a bucket full of morals. It's a leadership position. You need to be able to lead. You need to be able to understand Jackson State's culture. You need to simply make a difference, a positive difference.
Well, thank you for that setup. That makes this transitional question very easy. So thank you for that. So it's no secret that some of our past presidents have had some murky backgrounds, right? Their backgrounds have not necessarily, whether true or not, their backgrounds, all of them have not necessarily been.
So Othor, can I interrupt? So we know that one has had a murky background. The other two from the 18s. I'm just jumping in for 1877 because I want to keep us with a clean glass of water on this. We know that one.
So let me qualify that. Let me qualify. Here's what I know to be true for sure.
Okay.
Right? So let me qualify that. So whether it's true or not true, several of the past presidents have not necessarily had a very clean slate prior to this. Hell, just look at the track record. It's not hard to figure it out. But be that as it may, as I began to read your information, morals and standard, those things take center stage for you. And I would assume they take center stage for you for a reason. What's that reason?
Character matters. I can't lead a household, a corporation, a university, or anything without the character that sustains, without the character that is exemplary to the folks that I am hoping to lead and inspire. Our students, our faculty, our constituents deserve someone of impeccable integrity. And that's not a tall ask. That is not something that's impossible. And so we have reasonable expectations, and I say we raise the bar, and that we accept nothing less than someone who can absolutely be of impeccable character.
Yeah. Let me ask this question. Do you trust the process? Any of you?
Oh, no.
No, the process has failed us in the past, and we don't have any evidence that anything has changed.
All right.
The only way to cure that,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, the only way to cure that is transparency. Openness and transparency. The only way to rebuild trust, the only way to assure that all voices are heard is a fair and transparent process. We're calling for what it actually demands.
Absolutely. And so the stage of the game now, they are seeking proposals for a search firm to lead this process. And I think it closes relatively soon, but they're looking for a firm. So if you've not trusted the process in the past, here's my question for you. Do you have any faith that the process will be different this time?
I seriously doubt that. The first step to correcting a deficiency, you have to first accept, admit, and acknowledge a deficiency exists. And IHL has yet to do this. I think they were pretty candid and clear at the IHL meeting that they plan to follow their same process. Well, if you do the same things, you're going to yield the same results. And that's fine as long as those results are good. In this case, they're not.
Anybody want to add to that? In terms of trusting the process?
Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
I think that's at the core of our work is that we are advocating for the process to be changed and actually to add steps around transparency to bring the community. And when I say the community, I mean alumni, students, faculty, in with a determining stake. And to Vanessa Quinn and Vanessa Wallace's point, that acknowledgement again is important because it says, hey, we screwed this up and here's where we screwed it up. And here's how we're remedying it moving forward so that we have a more robust process and so that we're vetting all of the candidates equally and so that we have a lens that is worthy of having a high caliber leader during the process. So you were talking a minute ago about trust and do we trust in integrity? A lot of trust has been eroded. So we have to have trust in the process, and then we have to have a president that we can trust. Alumni can trust, students can trust, faculty can trust, institutional givers can trust, lawmakers can trust. So trust in that integrity is really important. And it starts now. It doesn't start when that person takes the chair.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm an eternal optimist, Othor, and I tend to believe beyond your wildest dreams. Like I just believe. But this time, I trust the process a lot less than I trust the power of our people. And that when we band together, when we unify around this key messaging and around our expectations, and we make our voices known and heard, I trust the power of that. And I have to get up every day as we continue this fight, believing that more and more folks will come, more and more people will rally and demand that their voices are heard. That is what we can trust.
That's what you can trust. That's a great point. I like that, because my question was going to be, if you don't necessarily trust the process, I would assume then that some of your work would be centered around pulling folk together that can help aid in that, right? That can help, I guess, speak to IHL and get IHL to do things differently. Is that correct?
It is correct. I think we've already moved the needle to whatever degree that we have in that regard. Like we've created a rallying point. I believe our work has given people information and raised awareness, and therefore folks know where to go to participate. And that's all we want to see, in addition to the fair and transparent process, in addition to the right president for the university. We want to see people come together. And we want to see us move the needle. And so when we talk about how we got here, or what brought us here, I tend to define here a little bit differently than it has been in the past, that we're getting some different results, and those results matter.
I've got to say that I do agree with you, because I do think that you have raised a level of awareness that heretofore was not there, right? I do think that you have created a space for more engagement, right? I find oftentimes that we're so reactionary instead of getting ahead of the process. So I think what you're doing has been really good. I will ask this though: 1877 versus the National Alumni Association. What's the difference?
There is no versus. It is a highly complementary relationship with regard to, how we feel about each other. Our missions are different, though, and there's no.
That's the verse, though. But that's the verses, right? The verse simply means difference, right? Not anti, not anti. But
not anti, and we do want to for that, right? We are in contact with the Alumni Association. Our missions are different, and what we are able to accomplish is different. And if we look historically at our people, there have always had to be these different groups, these different factions, not competing, not at odds with each other, but accomplishing the same goals in a very different way. And it's the same with us. All of us are alumni members. All of us, most of us are lifetime members. And so you are looking at the Alumni Association, in one regard, and in another regard, you're looking at a group of folks who said, we want to tackle this differently. And we need all hands on deck. So join the Alumni Association. I know we've said that, repetitively. We want folks to join the association, but we also want folks to come to this work knowing that it's a different approach.
Yeah, can I add to that? Can I add to that?
Politically correct, Vanessa, but you're absolutely right. I love it, and I see the difference. There's a stark difference between the work, and I like it. Somebody was saying something. I'm sorry.
Can I add to that? I want to say that, given that this year especially is Medgar Evers' centennial, he would have been 100 this year. And we are building on the momentum of memory. COFO, the Council of Federated Organizations, was an organization created specifically because we had, in the state of Mississippi and in Alabama, but specific to Mississippi, you had the NAACP doing work. You had Martin Luther King and the SCLC doing work. You had SNCC doing work. You had CORE doing work. And what Medgar jumped in and said is, hey, we need to work together. We all have different strengths and different missions and show up that way. And so I understand what you're saying with the verses, but the Alumni Association does some things really well. And where we're coming in and rounding that out is taking on a different lane and a different voice, all in the uplift of Jackson State.
Right. And versus, again, simply means the difference. And I will acknowledge, while they do some things well, they have failed in a lot of areas. But that's a conversation for another day. That's not why we're here. Listen, so the vetting of the candidates, in my mind, and Yumika brought this point up, the vetting process doesn't seem to be thorough enough. Anyone can look good on paper, but what do people that have worked alongside them and under them have to say about that? Talk to me about how you guys feel about the vetting of these candidates.
I would be excited if there was actual vetting. I mean, we don't have any proof that there has been any vetting. It's been stated that with Dr. Thompson, he didn't even apply for the job. So seems to me that particular selection vetting was completely absent. So I would love to see vetting in the first place. I would like for IHL to actually show that there is a vetting process. Share that vetting process with us so we can in turn understand that it actually exists.
Yeah.
I think also, I worked in project management. I'm also, like Mark, a computer science graduate. One of the things you do at the end of a project, whether it's deploying a news application or hiring a new university president, is you take a look at the process. What did you learn?
Yes.
That you can take forward and do it better? That question has been asked publicly, even by the Mississippi governor. But yet we have yet to hear what was learned and what they're going to do that's different. So when you ask me about vetting, I agree with what Vinicia is saying. There needs to be some vetting process, but we haven't seen any evidence of what is being done. And are they expecting this research group that they're hiring to do all of the work?
I was reading that RFP today in preparation for this, and one of the things that stood out to me, which is weird, and I don't know why it stood out, but it did stand out. One of the things that stood out was the fact that through this process, if this firm, if they hire a candidate, and it doesn't read exactly like this, but this is my interpretation. When they hire this firm and this firm makes its final selection, if they hire the candidate from the firm's search, if that candidate does not last 3 years, right? If the candidate does not last 3 years in the role as president, then they're going to want that firm to do it all over again at no additional charge. That kind of said something to me, and I don't know what it said to me, but it stood out to me. Have y'all read that? Did y'all see that?
I haven't read that. Mm-mm.
I would encourage you to read the RFP, the requirements for this firm that they are looking for, and that stood out. And it's in bold in the RFP language that if that president does not last 3 years, then they will want this firm at really no additional charge to continue work, and to start the process over, if you would. I don't know why that stood out to me, but it did. But
it tells me the focus is on cost, not quality.
Say that again.
The focus is on cost and not necessarily quality. Just based on that one piece that you shared with us.
Also, I'm curious to know, how did they come up with 3 years? I mean, that seems to be extremely short when the average president of a HBCU or any university is 6.5 years. So why would you that seems like failure already. 3 years, that's not even long enough. We're already getting anywhere from 18 months to 3 years. That's not long enough
to affect change.
Yeah, that's just not long enough, right. Period.
In my mind, I think, to your point, in my mind, I think that's what I think that's what they were saying, your exact point, that they need to be there at least 3 years, but that's not a long time. Dr. Timothy Rush, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. I'm sorry for my tardiness, but I was listening to him on the way in. I had to get in and just say I'm so proud of the platform you've given them, and I'm so proud of their representation here tonight.
Well, Tim, I got to tell you, sidebar, I didn't know you were a writer either. You know, I've been helping Jack out at the Mississippi Link, and I read a couple of your pieces, and particularly the piece that you did on Earl Sanders. I was like, I didn't know Tim
was yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So well done, man. Well done. I guess I'm curious, though. In all honesty, I'm very, 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 very curious about what your ask will be of the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus, and how do you want to see them move in this space?
Well, so let me say that we started doing this work again 18 months ago, and some of the first people that we reached out to were members of the caucus individually, and I'll let them tell their stories as they want to, and getting guidance from them. So we've always gotten good support and guidance from them. What we're doing now is we are checking in, because we have not had a conversation since Dr. Thompson's resignation, and since we've begun our campaign. So as much as anything, we are coming to sit down and in a room, just go through a lot of what we've done, hear their guidance, get their feedback and insight. So it is as much as a way to stay aligned. Again, our first order of business is to partner. We don't want to. I don't think any of us majored in surveys and petitions. I don't think any of that. That is not what we want to do. We really want to partner first. And so that is the biggest thing here, is just checking in and making sure we're aligned and that partnership remains tight.
Got it. Anybody want to add anything different?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Tim.
I'm gonna ask of Mr. Cain that they would help us be a voice, in that it appears that we've been silenced. We asked for an audience, an opportunity to speak before IHL, and we got a response letter back that stated, just send something formal. They'll share it with everybody else, but no public speaking. And I've never seen a public board before that didn't allow the public to address them. So that's one ask I'm going to have of them. And the other ask, and I'll be quite candid, I think we've outgrown IHL. We did a little research, and it dates back to, I think, 1940 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, we know the institutions probably have grown 100% since that time. And perhaps that may be why IHL has been quick with appointments, because there's so much work when you look at trying to regulate 8 universities or 8 institutions. And the question really becomes, can you really, really serve 8 institutions equally or fairly? So I think the ask is perhaps for our own board. I think Louisiana and Alabama does a great job of that. The institutions flourish. The board is made up mostly of alumni who genuinely concern and care, people that are accessible to you, people that can't hide from you. And I think the end result is a better product, not only for alumni, but for the state and the nation, because you have better academic programs and you're not afraid to ask for things. So
that's good.
That's about where I am.
Vanessa, you going to add something?
Yeah, we're asking of the legislators exactly what we're asking of all the other constituents, is to come to this fight, this situation urgently, and with all the wherewithal you muster and can bring, and to actually be the change agents that help us usher in a new process perhaps even a new approach, as Tim has alluded to. But we come to this, all of us, thinking about it and bringing all of our resources. And actually, for some of those legislators, it's going to be a continuation. For others, perhaps they haven't been as engaged. But let's all do this self-check and get here with the resources that this particular situation deserves.
Yeah, and to that point that Tim and Vanessa are making, and it's one thing that we've talked about from the beginning. And when I use the word alumni here, I'm talking broadly and not necessarily the alumni association, but it does not exclude the alumni association or 1877, is that we cannot look at Jackson State and what is happening separate from politics. Our legacy organizations and institutions and advocacy groups, especially in this era, are going to have to become overtly more political and more politically savvy. And so to all of those, to underscore all of those things, it's alignment. It is about, having their support and speaking up, and also having a different imagination around the way our universities are governed. So it's an all of the above.
Got it. What happens if we get to the end of the process and you guys have not been involved, a selection is made? What does 1877 do?
I think we keep working. We're committed to keep the institution. We ran into that when we first started with the previous administration. We wasn't happy with that selection.
Right.
But we're committed to the institution, and we kept our hands on the plow and kept being accessible and to the institution and the administration to do what we can to help. We're going to always be committed to helping our institution and doing what we can to make Jackson State the best that it can be.
Yeah, and to that end, there's one thing that I think we try to do when we're talking about this. This isn't about 1877. So when who's involved, we're not advocating for the 1877 project to be a part of the process. We're advocating for alumni to be a part of the process, for students to be a part of the process. We're taking the lead in organizing and raising our voices, but this is about all of us. This is not about the 1877 project. We're merely a mechanism or an organization that's trying to advance something. But if there's anything that I call for in writing, and that we've said before, is that more than IHL, more than the legislators or anything, really, we alumni have to get our spirit back and raise our voices collectively. That is, if we can do that, that is a win in and of itself.
And to add to that, we are a multifaceted organization. This presidential search is important to us, but there are other things that we want to get done. So, and we're willing to work with whomever is chosen. We just hope that who the person is chosen is a person of quality.
Yeah, I do want to note, Mr. Cain, that throughout my interaction with alumni, in particular the older alumni, they always allude to perhaps the Ron Mason and the James Lyons search being the more comprehensive searches. So if we can get back to those particular formats where each entity had opportunity to interact with them and ask questions without everything being pre-scripted, then I think the community would really be ready to embrace that next leader.
I think those first processes were good too, and I think those were two good leaders that Jackson State had as well. So that's a great point. So I got to push back just a little bit, Mark. I'm going to push back just a little bit on your response, right? So, in as much as I understand that it's not about technically the 1877 group, you guys are doing the work, and so the question was really about how do you continue the work if what you want is not necessarily accomplished in the next president, right? So that's the question. How does the work continue if at the end of this process, you've not gotten the things that you want, you've not gotten a transparent process, you've not gotten a strong vetting process, or if any vetting at all, if you've not gotten these things, how does the work continue? I know it's not about an individual, but you're working under the umbrella of 1877. So it's okay to really answer that question without, political fluff.
No. So I hope it's not political fluff. And I want to go back to where we started, is that we've been doing this 18 months before Dr. Thompson resigned. So this is not about our work. We have a roadmap, and it has 10 items on it, which includes succession planning for president and other key positions. It includes housing. It includes enrollment. It includes how do we examine, how are we bringing in, how many scholarships are we giving, full scholarships, to non-athletes? It is, are we prepared for next accreditation? Are we looking to move? It's fine that we are the only HBCU in Mississippi that is Carnegie Research level 2, but we should be going to research level 1. So we have a roadmap of things that go beyond this. This presidential search is just an event that's creating a sense of urgency here around this. And I think it's also really, really important. There weren't, when I was at the Alcorn game, just shortly after Dr. Thompson was appointed, I don't know anybody who was excited about that. I think a lot of people were miffed. But we in good faith said, this is the person who our president is now. And we engaged with him and his team, and we'll do the same. We're Jacksonians. This isn't we're a new organization, but we're not a one-trick pony.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
I do.
Good deal.
I do want to add.
I like that answer much better.
I want to add one other thing, though, Mr. Cain.
Yes, sir.
Just the old dean of students come out of me as it relates to the processes. Registration today as if we knew it. And that bothers me when we can go to other institutions and register with your cell phone in about 10 or 15 minutes, and we still stand in lines. We got to fix it. We got to fix it. I mean, we losing students because they stand in line frustrated because we can't move the needle. And every year we know that the students are coming, and for whatever reason, it seems like we're not prepared to receive them. We got to fix it.
Hey, y'all need to hire Eddie Fair in the tax collector's office, because he learned how to move those taglines.
Right. Exactly. No doubt about it. You're exactly right. He did.
That's good. So we're just about out of time. This has been a great conversation. I do think Jackson State deserves the best leader. It would be my hope and my prayer and desire that IHL will really listen, really let you guys have a seat at the table to just say, this is what we want. We can help y'all. Because I have read everything that you guys have put out, and I know that 10-step thing, and I think all of that is absolutely amazing. And just like I said earlier, I think you've already won because you've already created a different level of engagement, a different level of awareness, and it's been absolutely remarkable to watch it. It's been absolutely remarkable to watch it. I guess I will give you guys an opportunity, each one of you, to take a 30-second stab at a closing piece, and however you want to take that 30 seconds. And Dr. Tim, why don't we start with you?
Okay, I would simply like to call on alumni, as we said earlier on this journey, to simply give a damn, care about the process, care about the institution, care about the people who were before us that have laid this foundation. And in closing, I simply say, if loving JSU is wrong, I don't want to be right.
I love it. I love it. Francis, let's go to you next.
Tim said it all. I really employ the alumni that are watching, the parents of students that are watching, the community of Jackson, my hometown, that are watching, get involved. show us that you care, show the students that you care, and get involved. If you want to know how to get involved, reach out to one of us, and we will gladly accept assistance, because it takes a village, not just a few people.
Got it. Benicia Quinn, how about you?
I just think you should have allowed me to go in front of my line sister. I was thinking the exact same thing. Mine is going to be short, and really all I was going to say is to tag on to Fran, it does take a village. Okay, we need supporters. We need more alumnus like ourselves and others out there that want to get involved. And I'm saying get involved with 1877 so that we can get things accomplished. So, show us that you care about Jackson State as much as we do, and help us move this project along. Help us get a lot of the deficiencies turned into positive things. So we just need supporters. We need people who are willing to jump in this fight with us.
Very good. Vanessa, what about you, ma'am?
My colleagues have already said it, get engaged. But what I do think about is the fact that we were all born for such a time as this. So while it may seem that this is an optional fight, while it may seem that this work is something that could be backburnered or deferred, it is not. We were born for such a time as this, and our university needs us. The students need us, and we invite you to join us.
Very good, very good. And Yumika says that the quality of student life has to be higher on the list in the process. And I certainly think that we've got to give student voices, we've got to elevate student voices. We've got to make sure they remain a priority. Brother Mark, you've got the last word, sir.
Well, so let me say this, that I first want to say that I am super proud to be a part of this team and associated with this team and the work that we are doing. I also want to say to Jacksonians that while this is not the worst thing that we've been through, school was going to close in the 30s, and Dr. Riddicks had to almost build it back from nothing. So this is not the worst, but we are at an inflection point. And this inflection point is coming from a macro level of what's happening with the Trump administration, what's happening at Jackson State. We don't have an option. And when I say we, it is alumni, it is anybody who values Black education and Black institutional education. You have to get involved now. That we can't risk waiting until tomorrow to get involved. So right now is the time to give a damn and get involved.
Very good. I appreciate you guys for being here, all of you for being here. Thank you so much for your knowledge. Thank you for your investment, your care. I do want to pause for a moment, though, and just do a little silent prayer for our dear friend Sherilyn, who lost her brother. So we're thinking about you, Sherilyn. Thank you for your leadership in this space. Thank you for helping to pull this panel together. So let's just take a brief moment of silence in remembrance of Sherilyn and her family at this time. All right. Thank you very much. We wish you well, Sherilyn. We're praying. Let us know if we could do anything for you. Thank you all so much for being with us tonight. This was a great conversation. I wish you all the best. I will be at your meeting with the Legislative Black Caucus to cover it for the Mississippi Link. So I'm looking forward to that conversation as well.
We'd be remiss, Othor, if we didn't thank you. Thank you for the platform.
Yeah, thank you for the space. Thank you for the space.
Thank you for the space. Thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely. My pleasure to do it. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for
do the same.
Everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. We really do appreciate a great conversation with the 1877 project from Jackson State University, a group of committed alumnus of Jackson State, really working hard to ensure that the legacy of Jackson State mission of Jackson State continues, and I'm very proud of their work. I don't think that I've seen a more organized group get involved in this space, and to the point that they've been working for the last 18 months, that really speaks volume. So thanks for joining us tonight. We do appreciate it. We'll talk to you again.